Welcome back, YouTube, to The Glow Show, Season 2, all about you. It's been a minute, I know, judge your mom. Let's get into it. Are you watching more than you're working, looking more than you're learning, or sulking more than you're studying? It's time to check your habits. Hello, and welcome to The Glow Show, Season 2, all about you, where I help you navigate a new area of life, business, or social media. As an empath who has dedicated her platform to education and service, I'm honestly learning as I go, but sharing my lessons along the way. If you'd like a question answered live, visit milliondollarshortcut.com, purchase a copy, and then text your question to the number at the top of the screen. Learning, loving, and living out loud. That's The Glow Show. We're back, we're back, we're back. Can I just say, whatever y'all think of me and my level of productivity, consistency, work ethic, it comes and goes. It's all about seasons. And I haven't recorded a podcast in what, 2-3 months? And the only reason I have 40 episodes now is because I gave myself a challenge in December to record a podcast every single day after launching and then taking 2 months off. And something that I'm learning about my own consistency and work habits is that it is so easy for me to get distracted, and shiny ball syndrome is real. I'm someone who's very distractible, and if I see something that excites me, I'm chasing the excitement first. And I've found in my life, I'm committed to my uncommitted ways. I say that a lot, but it's really like, I'm so hanging on to the idea that I don't want to be attached to anything or anyone, that I refuse to fully commit to anything or anyone. This is toxic. Okay, but today's episode is about how to stop comparing yourself with others. When I think about what most people struggle with, and that's what I really am trying to do with Season 2, talk about relatable things that we all go through and maybe don't talk about, don't know how to talk through, but I'd love to just be a guinea pig and put myself out there and share what I've done. And with all of these topics that I talk about, it's not to say that I've fully mastered any of them, but I do feel like the more we talk through our issues, the better of an understanding we have of them. And I think the more self-aware you are, the more you can, work through whatever issues you have. So with comparison, obviously in the social media culture, it is natural to look at other people's lives as a point of reference. And it's funny because one of the things that I've been doing for the last 5 years is every time I'm unsure of how far along I am on my journey, I Google what Oprah was doing at my age. So probably 2 months ago, you'll probably see in my search history, Oprah at 31 years old. Just point of reference, just to see, what she was doing. And I think sometimes when we know we were made to do big things, or we like to do many things, it's hard for us to know if we're living in the season we're supposed to be in. And when so many opportunities are also thrown your way, it can be very terrifying to know which ones are the right ones to say yes to. And I promise you, I'm so thankful for the blessings and the opportunities coming my way. But when you say no to 90% of what hits your email inbox, you can't help but wonder, oh shoot, was this going to be the one? Was this something that could have led to something else, that could have led to something else? You're constantly wondering what's worthy of your yes. And Lavia Ajayi had this amazing 5-question framework that she kind of spoke about on her podcast about 3 years ago. And actually, this wasn't on my notes, but I'll go ahead and bring it up because hopefully it's helpful for you all. And you can follow her on Instagram at LUVVIE. But she said in order for her to take an opportunity, she has to answer yes to at least 3 of the 5 following questions. The first one is, will I enjoy it? The second one, does it pay my fee? The third one, does it elevate my profile? Fourth one, is it a larger audience? And fifth, is it something new or different? Basically, will it challenge me? So again, will I enjoy it? Does it pay my fee? Does it elevate my profile? Is it a larger audience? And then is it something new or different that will challenge me? And I think the beauty of having those questions and telling yourself, okay, I'm only going to do this if I know that it's something different than what I'm used to, or, you know, you just have to have, I guess, those standards in place. And so I kind of have gone with those set of questions for a while, but I think the number one driving question for me when I'm about to say yes or no to an opportunity is like, does it make sense? Do I have the energetic capacity? And a lot of what I've said yes to, like I pull in a lot of favors for a lot of people. And especially when you're like networking up, a part of you feels obligated to say yes to certain people. And again, this is not any type of coercion or emotional manipulation that they have over you. It's just, it kind of comes, it's this unspoken rule where it's like pull in favors. Like when someone has something really big about to happen, you know that like they're grasping at straws, and this is like something that they've probably invested a lot financially and energetically into. And if you don't show up for them in this way, it's going to really sting or potentially damage the friendship, relationship. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people have launched a lot of really big projects recently. So I found myself overextended. And I was going to get to this a little bit later on in the podcast, but I found that I finally started pulling back, and I implemented this 12-week calendar block. I'm also approaching a book deadline, a book proposal deadline. So what this 12-week calendar block is basically for the next 12 weeks, I'm saying no to every single ask. If it is not something that is urgent or aligned, it's a no. And it literally is nothing personal. It's just, if you happen to have something, you know, massive going on, but this is just a boundary I have to set for myself. And it's not new. I didn't invent this, but I knew I had to implement it when I started to resent my calendar and the people on my calendar. That sounds bad. Because at the end of the day, like I run my academy and I have some of my private clients, and that's all I want to do. But I found myself having all of these extra random stuff. Like if it's not a coaching client or my academy students, I don't want to be on a Zoom call. And that's the season I'm in, because I'm in this season of deep work where if I'm constantly, here's the thing, if you are constantly juggling all of these things for other people, your mind is in a perpetual state of transition, because it's not that, oh, this only will take you 10 minutes, Glow. It's like, I might need to get into the zone for that 10-minute job. It might take me an hour to get into the zone. And then after I'm finished with it, or the call or whatever, I then have to transition to the next thing. And that transition might take me another 30 minutes. But I think people don't realize that how much mental capacity it takes for anything. And especially when you're someone who's very like creative, like your brain is just, it's wired differently and it just works differently. Yeah, so I those boundaries, and, you know, sending some of those emails and texts and letting people know like, hey, this is what's happening. And, you know, it's so funny. As soon as I sent that tweet, I felt like everyone was like, oh, now's the time to ask Glow for something. It was just like, I felt so bad. Some of them, I even had to send them the tweet so that they didn't think I was literally just saying no to them because I didn't want to help them. And I think that's the beginning of a beautiful next chapter of, boundaries. I don't know. I mean, it's something deeper than boundaries. It's self-love, man. It's just, yeah, I feel like for all of my 20s, I like bent over backwards for so many people. And I think some people also lack the self-awareness of like, okay, I'm not counting favors, but sometimes you want to be cognizant of the amount of times you're asking someone for a favor and the amount of times they ask you for one. And it's like, if you've asked them for 6 favors in the matter of 3 months and they've said no to all of them, like, it's really shameless to go for the 7th and the 8th and the 9th favor. And I'm just like, wow. Like, I don't possess that level of shamelessness. A part of me is like, it's admirable that you just don't care how I feel about your level of just like shamelessness, but also kind of lack of regard and maybe a little bit inconsiderate that like, man, this person has shown up for me in the last year, and maybe they might be going through something in their life or in their business where they just don't have the capacity. Why don't I offer them help before I ask for another favor, you know? So And again, when people are used to you being the yes woman, you know, the person that's always able to come through in the fourth quarter, yeah, it is also hard for them to accept that adjustment as well. So I think I'm always navigating transition of like people's expectations of me and what I should and shouldn't be doing. And I feel like 2022 is going to be a really big year. I don't feel it is, because I'm already planning something really big and I'm excited to share soon. But there's already so much in the pipeline that I'm like, okay, Glow, you've got to start implementing the boundaries you need for next year right now. So, tangent, hello. This episode is going to be talking about how to stop comparing with others. I don't know. But I think I went on a tangent because this is the first podcast I've done in a long time. So welcome back. Glow still doesn't know how to keep her stream of consciousness in one stream. Okay, so first and foremost, who doesn't compare? Everyone does it. My first memory of comparing was maybe like 5th grade. And this is when girls started to grow their boobies. And Glow was a late bloomer. I'm 31. I didn't get my boobs until 30. I kid you not. One morning I woke up, I looked in the mirror, I was like, whoa. I think I was like, nice. Don't even, I've never. If you've always had great boobs, of course, there's not going to be one day where you're like, whoa, I've got great boobs. But the day happened because they came out of nowhere. So I was like, whoa, these are pretty cool. Sorry. So inappropriate, so random. But I was just like, whew, this is pretty cool. I felt like I had reached this super secret level of just, I don't know, you kind of like a video game. It's like you're driving, you know, a lap in Mario Kart and you stumble upon like a super mushroom and it accelerates your life. Okay, sorry. So that happened. But yeah, really late bloomer. So my first memory of comparison was, why don't I have my boobs yet? Literally all of my classmates have their boobs. And of course, this was like, you start PE and so you're in like the dressing room, and so anyone who says they didn't look is a liar. Like, you know, you're trying to figure out what's normal. So I'm like looking at, it was this again, 5th grade, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's like lumps, like there's sizable bags. I was a bird chest. You could flat iron, what? You can iron clothes on my chest back then. And the beautiful thing about that in hindsight is that I couldn't grow my boobs, so I grew skills instead. And again, as a girl, and this is very like, you know, any woman will tell you this, but the benefits awarded to those who are prettier, or to those who are just pretty, you learn that you don't have to work as hard. And again, this is going to come across the wrong way, and I accept the judgments and I accept the criticism, and I apologize if this is not very tactful, but I saw how all of the most gorgeous girls in my class like could get away with not doing as much. And it's almost like their beauty was kind of like the golden ticket. And so when you don't have looks going for you, you got to work harder. you got to literally work. You got to have a skill set. You got to have a reason to be invited to parties, to be, I don't know, promoted, getting in the room. Like, it's just, you have to have something tangible because your looks won't cut it. So that was like my first, you know, comparison. I think what comparing also does is it triggers insecurity. It's not so much that we don't want other people to be like happy. Like, we can see someone doing well and be like, man, I want that life. And instead of these books. So if you're watching the YouTube version, I have these massive stack of books and I'm trying out this new layout, and I just ordered like 40 books over the last month. So I'm out of bookshelves. So for now, this will work. Anyways, if you already feel bad about where you are in your life, looking at people who are doing well is not fun. And I think I tell this to people regularly, but if my Instagram triggers insecurity, I want them to unfollow me because I don't want them to resent me. And I actually had a travel blogger reach out like about a year ago. And I think I knew of her about 6 years ago. And she was like, hey, Glow, last year she sent this message. She's like, I just want to let you know I'm sorry for all the things I said about you. I was like, excuse me? I wasn't aware she said anything. She's like, I always thought you were this and that. And, you know, just so annoyed by you. And I felt like, you know, you just got things that I wanted. But now I look at your life and I really appreciate how hard you've worked and you deserve it. Thank you. Like, I really didn't know. I appreciated the honesty because imagine if one person was willing to say that, how many more people think that? And look, I don't want to be the source of anyone's insecurity. So if my page triggers you, don't follow. Like, and I won't like take it personal because I get it. I know what it's like to see someone doing something that you want to do and you feel stuck. So comparing yourself to someone who's in your industry and ahead of you, like that's not healthy. Unless they have a way for you to invest in learning from them, don't follow them. Or unless they're like posting, you know, stuff that help you on your journey, but you're going to build up this silent resentment and it's just going to be like weird. It's only going to hurt one person because when someone resents me, they're the only ones affected. They see my content and they like build up more resentment. They get more anger. They get more frustrated about where they are in life. I don't know. And I'm just literally living my life. So it only hurts one person when you're constantly comparing. So keep that in mind. Next thing is, again, there's positive comparison as well. So like I mentioned, talking about Googling like where Oprah is on her journey at any given age reminds me that there's so much life to live. Like life is both long and short. And there's a book by Seneca, The Shortness of Life. And it really talks about how life is short, but art makes it long. And when you're creating and you're building things, you can elongate your life. So I want to constantly be building. Like I'm a creator at heart. I'm an artist. I love to, I'm a writer. Like I was meant to just pour my heart out on the internet in the form of words and content. So I feel like me staying in my creative state keeps me alive. So seeing other creators who have like just built longevity in their careers, like Oprah and the Tracy Ellis Ross, and it's inspiring. So think of other people who have been in the game for a long time and look to them as aspirational. So that's a positive type of comparison. Now, the negative comparison, like I mentioned, if there's someone in your field who's more advanced than you, learn from them. And I always think as well that like, if you can figure out a way to turn jealousy into inspiration, like there's a thing that says nerves and excitement triggers the same type of like endorphin rush. So your brain literally can't tell the difference between being nervous and being excited. So if you're about to give a speaking engagement and you're like feeling super nervous, just say out loud, y'all, I am so excited to be here. And your brain's gonna believe it because it's like, it's the same chemical reaction. Go with it. So just like jealousy, whenever you see someone's content that makes you jealous because you fall into that comparison trap, think about typing like, I am so inspired by the way you live your life. Your content inspires me so much. You show me what's possible for myself. Thank you. How can you translate that into gratitude? And I think if we allow ourselves to stop being so, gosh, I don't know what the word is, but we're too hard on ourselves. And sometimes we're trying to like skip parts of our journey that are equipping us like morally and ethically for the next level. But if we miss all of that, we get corrupt with the money and the wins and the success. And I've seen money corrupt so many people. So it's like, I promise the slower your journey, like the better of a person you are. I don't know how to say that. Like you just develop more character. If you rush the journey, the success comes too quick, you might not even recognize yourself anymore and not in a good way. Like you're supposed to change and grow, but a lot of people change for the worse and you don't want that to be you. So last but not least, are you watching more than you're working? Are you looking more than you're learning? And are you sulking more than you're studying? Check your habits. Okay. A scripture on comparison. This is from 2 Corinthians 10:12. I'm reading from the NASB version. For we do not presume to rank or compare, presume, sorry. This presume has the Z sound. Here we go. Try again. For we do not presume to rank or compare ourselves with some of those who commend themselves, but when they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they have no understanding. A lot of redundancy there, but it's basically saying, don't compare yourselves with others because you don't know what they're going through. You have no context of their story, and most people don't share the totality of their journey. So you might be comparing yourself to someone's life who you don't even want it for yourself because you don't know the whole story. Okay, next section of the podcast, what I'm currently doing. What I'm currently reading is How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole LePera. Really, really good. She is the holistic psychologist on Instagram. What I'm currently thinking is that I'm very strange. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm very strange. What I'm currently buying, a birthday gift for a dear friend. I like to customize, like gift giving is one of my love languages, not to receive, but to give. And she just released a book. So I put her book on a cake. Sounds creepy when you say it out loud, but I think she'll like it. What I'm currently learning is that I have to see things at face value. There's a quote, gosh, I'm gonna butcher who it was by and how he said it, but don't see things how you wish they were. See things as they are. And I think when you are such an empath and you try to look at the bright side of things, you try to be an optimist, a little bit Pollyannish, you don't see things for what they are, and it creates a little bit of a delusion. So just seeing things at face value would just, I think, help me a little bit more. What I'm currently manifesting is a smooth August. I have a lot of travel. I'm going to be living on a plane all next month. So I'm just manifesting smooth operation, smooth sailing. What I'm currently praying for is better communication with hard truths. Again, when it comes to those boundary setting, having the tact and the compassion and just the emotional intelligence to say things in a way people receive it well. I also know it's not my job to make sure people don't get offended by my boundaries, but I'm a considerate person, and being an empath, you can't just be like, don't talk to me for the next 6 months because I'm tired. I might feel that way. I can't say that. And it's not even personal. It'll just be like, I'm working on something or I'm tired or whatever it is, you know, so I have to just continue working on my communication skills and being mindful that no matter how kindly I say something, people can still take it the wrong way. What I'm currently watching, Girlfriends on Netflix. It has been back on Netflix since the last fall, I believe. And I used to sneak and watch this show after school. And when I was like 13, half the jokes, of course I didn't get them. And I'm watching it now, like as someone like living their lives at the same age. And I'm like, this show was reckless. What I'm currently avoiding, cleaning my closet. I have got to donate so much. I feel like in season 1, I was still cleaning my closet. Nice to know that I'm consistent with my procrastination. What I'm currently loving is my peace and freedom. I'm virtually inaccessible on weekends. My phone is pretty much on Do Not Disturb, and I'm not on social media. It's bliss. Again, are you watching more than you're working, looking more than you're learning, and sulking more than you're studying? Check your habits. Thank you so much for listening. It's so good to be back. So good to be back. We're going to get back up to 25 minutes on the episodes. I'm really excited about that. So be sure to tag me on Instagram and post your favorite quote so I can share it at Glow Graphics, GLO Graphics. Please leave a review on Apple. And again, if you want your question answered live, go to milliondollarshortcut.com, purchase your copy, and text your question to the number at the top of the screen. Love you guys so much. Thank you, and chat with you on the next episode.